I just waited about 20 minutes to start recording this video. My cat wanted to go outside, and he didn't know that he wanted to go outside and decided to stand there and sniff the fresh air for about 20 minutes before actually deciding to take a step outside. Anyway, welcome to this video, and I just wanted to give you my view on what I think, the whole PC versus console thing is going to be like this generation. And I'm going to explain, there's going to be a lot of people that are confused as to whether they should keep or buy a PC. So they'll be next generation ready as well as current generation, whatnot. So the main issue, I'm going to go straight into it, with PC is its price. To me, I don't have a very amazing paying job. I'm only a trainee at the minute, and that stops next week. Well, this week is last week. But that's just me. Anywho. PCs, if you want a decent one, can be pretty pricey compared to a console. So let's say, let me throw out some figures on the screen. So first things first, I've got a links up already. Let's say I'm going to look at some Battlefield 3 benchmarks, because Battlefield 3 is quite an intensive game, to run on higher settings. Let's say we want to get at minimum 60 frames per second, because next generation 60 FPS should be what we're getting on most games. Obviously we'll get the odd 30 FPS game, but to me that's not really an issue. Now first up, because I'm a giant AMD fanboy, because they're amazing, you should totally contact me, AMD. Let's throw up an AMD Radeon HD 7970 GHz edition with 3 gigs of RAM. So as you can see, at 1080p with anti-aliasing on, it gets us 78.66 frames per second on average, and with anti-aliasing off, because it's quite intensive, we're getting about 108 frames per second. If you're not an AMD fanboy like myself, let's look at the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 670 2GB version, because it's closely priced with the 7970. So with anti-aliasing on, or max settings, blah blah blah, we're getting about 72.43 frames per second. With anti-aliasing off, we're getting about 100 frames per second. So what's the point of listing all these specs, Theo? Why do I need these? Well, I'm going to inform you of that now. If you're looking to buy one of these GPUs alone, say you're going to plonk it in your system, you're looking at about £300 to £400, which is possibly, well, most probably in the same price range as the full console for the PS4 or the 720, depending on your personal choice. Little Jimmy in his bedroom, who likes to play video games, wants to get into the next generation. He has 3 choices at the minute: the Xbox 720, or whatever, I'm just going to say Durango, the PlayStation 4, or a custom-built PC. So Little Jimmy's favourite YouTubers are Hard8Times and Black Bond. Little Jimmy, I keep saying that name too much, don't I? He puts together a PC in his Amazon wishlist, what he wants to save his pocket money for and eventually buy. So let's say he goes around the GPU area that we chose earlier on, about the £350 mark to be nice, because most of them are in the 400s, but we'll go 350. Then he needs to buy a CPU. If he goes with the nice brand, he gets one for about, a very decent one, for about 160. If he goes with the devil, Intel, he's going to be spending about 300, maybe £400 on a CPU. Then he's going to be buying a motherboard for about 100 quid, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. Then he's going to go with some RAM, so let's say 30 quid, 40 quid. Let's go with a hard drive instead of a solid state. Let's go about 1-2 terabytes, so let's say 70, 60 quid. Let's go with the case, 60 quid. It's all adding up. And Little Jimmy is very confused if his components are even compatible. And I know it's pretty simple to look it up and see if they are, but Little Jimmy just wants to play his games. So to build a PC or buy a PC from a retailer, if you're crazy, it's pretty much obvious that it's going to be more expensive than if you were to buy a console for gaming. This is for gaming. Anyone could buy a console and a decent spec PC and still have it less than buying a super powered PC, but that's not the point. Just to put an end on the little Jimmy story, he decided to go with a PlayStation 4 over the Xbox 720 because it didn't have any games, and over the PC because it didn't cost him his leg. So that's all fine and dandy. You know, consoles, the 720 and the PS4 will be slightly ahead of what we're getting on PC now for maybe 1 or 2 years, until eventually PC catches up, right? Right? Wrong. Hey buddy, how is it hanging? I heard you got that new GTX Titan or that 7990. Yes, I heard that those things can outpower the PlayStation 4 already. I mean, what's the point of getting a console? You guys are the funniest. The funniest and funkiest bunch on this entire planet. And I'm about to reveal a deep and very dark secret, pretty much never revealed by PC fanboys. You ready? Here we go. To me, the whole point of consoles is the reason they're still here. My PlayStation 4 will be the exact same spec as little Jimmy's PS4. Both our PS4s will be the exact same spec as your PS4. All PS4s ever made will be exactly the same. They are one level, and developers create for one PS4 and they work for every single PS4. No swapping about and changing things because they have different GPUs and CPUs and such. And for PC, it's a bit of a different story. So I can just sit here and say, without even thinking, my PC is going to be completely different to any of your PCs. No PC will be exactly the same, whoever watches this video, unless there's one that bought a system from friggin' Alienware or something, you stupid idiot. And this, my friends, is why 99.9% of developers will not make use of your GTX Titans and your 7990s. What's the point of going that high up and making it mandatory that you have that much horsepower and changing the game so much when it's better, you know, at better settings, when they could go backwards? Go backwards. Go further back. You know, forget your Titans, go back to your Intel integrated graphics. Those things that are everywhere. Inside laptops, inside tablets, you know, inside basic desktop PCs that your auntie owns because she wants to check her emails. If they make the games work for those GPUs as well as yours, they're going to get more money. They're going to get more money than if they were going to help you crazy overclocking people up there. And this, my friends, is why consoles set the stage. Consoles set the stage for what gaming is this generation, what level we're at GPU, CPU wise. There is no point in really going much further than the consoles we're at. Give me one example why. They're going to earn maybe, I don't know, they're going to earn about a million sales with crazy end PC games. Or they can earn billions maybe of sales if they went with people with Celerons or something. Or i3s. You have to think of it that way. Consoles are on the same level. All of them the same level. There's no fiddling with settings. Developers can make one version, maxing out the console's raw power day one if they want to, and making it still run smooth across every single platform. They will have to make sacrifices with the PC because someone with a Celeron won't be able to run that. So, for example, I read somewhere that Killzone Shadowfall, here's a very good example, the slow motion it did, I can't remember the name of the technology it used, but it would be possible on PC, but anyone with a Celeron would have some major trouble. And if you've knocked off that Celeron, you've knocked off the i3 market, what's the point of implementing that into a game? Because most people are using those. Obviously, it's not always going to be that consoles are ahead. Now, consoles are usually ahead for 1 to, stretching it here, 3 years of launch. So maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the line, obviously we'll be hitting just above mid-range on a PC. Obviously it might be different this generation, depends on how fast the technology develops. Until we get to the point we're at now. To build a equivalent to a PlayStation 3, you can probably build it for about 400 quid. Obviously technology may develop faster, so it might even be cheaper at that point. But we don't know yet. We don't know where it's heading. Personally, I believe we're heading to streaming, but that's another video. I don't really have time to explain all of that. It's still going to take quite a while till we eventually get to that point where everybody can have that Killzone Shadowfall slowdown technology experience. You know, it's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen, and you can probably guess that this is probably going to be the last generation of consoles. I believe we'll eventually go streaming, as I said, because everyone's back end, not literally, will be the same. Anywho, so for maybe the next 4 years, I can say this with a smile on my face. My PlayStation 4 gaming experience is better than your PC gaming experience. And it was cheaper. Make sure to leave your thoughts on this below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Peace.
Yo, yes sir. Turn everything up tomorrow. The drums, you know.